Hello, Gorgeous Academy, ladies and gentlemen. This video is all about the secret sauce to exactly what we're doing when we work psychically and mediumistically. And if you want to hear me bang on about my shiny light, about how we make that connection, about what this whole story is about, it actually is contained in this video. So if you do nothing else after you've watched the Watch Me First, which is basically about housekeeping, this is the video to watch. This is going to make the difference between you being an average meh kind of reader or psychic and putting you to that very next level. And it is all about developing your own personal relationship to the divine, to spirit, to God, to the universe, however you see that part of you that's greater than you, where the great light is. And if you've already had a little taste of my shiny light, if you already downloaded it, you kind of know what this is. And you also know that it isn't just a plain old meditation. You're not going to be, meeting an old man and riding on a unicorn or getting a magic bauble or anything like that. You're actually working. And so this 10-minute audio empowerment that I've created called My Shiny Light is basically my version of the kind of training that I receive from my tutors that's around everywhere. I didn't invent this. This is just my version of it. And I call it My Shiny Light. Other names are Sitting in the Power, Sitting for Spirit, Sitting for Power. It's a way to build up your psychic battery so that you can run longer and stronger and more accurately. So I could talk for hours about My Shiny Light and what it does. And if you've worked with me in the Psychic Connection package, you know that I do devote quite some time to it. So I'm just going to pot all that down for you, give you the basics, and then if you've got any questions, of course, I'll add other videos. So bear with me. I am going to share my screen and we will get going. So this is the secret sauce. This is the thing that makes it go. And if you've even had a taste of it, you're going to understand this very shortly. And if you've gone, well, it's just another meditation, girlfriend, boyfriend, you're missing out. I really want you to go back and have another go. And you're in the academy, so statements like, I can't meditate, or I don't have time, or it's too distracting out there, that's not going to wash, okay? If you want to get where you want to go, if you want to have a fantastic relationship to the divine, increase your psychic power, do the work that your soul wants you to do that you've come here for, then the secret sauce is getting in the power, doing My Shiny Light, increasing the amount of light that you hold in your energy field. So, here we go. Yes, My Shiny Light, this is it. If you have not already downloaded the audio to your desktop, your laptop, and then transferred it over into your phone, please do now. It is much better used with headphones because there are binaural beats inserted into the 10-minute version. What does that mean? That's just groovy little sound wavelengths that help you relax and get into the zone even quicker. So my suggestion is to download it to your phone because that's how I use it, and use those earbuds. My Shiny Light, built to power a strong energy field and improve your psychic connection. Now, guess what? There's no fast track. There are no magic beans. There is no instant connection to the divine. There isn't go 24/7 with your guides in 7 days. No matter what the offers are out there, I hate to break it to you, but there really isn't a fast track. There are no magic beans when it comes to psychic development. And I kind of have the idea that you kind of know this too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Right? We know that we're in it for the long haul. We're doing it for our souls, for ourselves, because we have that hunger, because we can't really think of anything else we would rather do. And even if we drop it for a while because life gets in the way, always somehow we seem to circle back to it. Something calls us, and we know that something is our soul. And what we're really doing here is discovering more about our soul. And, the great philosophers said, know thyself. early on. And essentially that's what we're doing here. And the vehicle that we're using, apart from, of course, everything we do in our lives as we travel on this amazing physical life, is My Shiny Light is going to help you know yourself, know your soul. So let's talk about energy, because that's really all we are. And when we work, whether it's psychics or as mediums, we're all blending our energy field. Our energy field is what does the heavy lifting in this psychic world. It's not the angels, it's not the guides, it's not God, it's not your crystal. It's your energy field. So when we work with My Shiny Light, we are building the strength of our energy field. And you'd know that as a psychic, you work with the living, you blend your energy field with those that are incarnate, that are in this world. And if you're a medium, you're still blending your energy, but you're working with the people that are in the next world that happen to be discarnate, that we actually just can't see, but they are nevertheless extremely there, extremely alive, and extremely ready to communicate. It's all done in the blend. Now, the blend is your energy field, this gorgeous purple little blotch here, which is fantastically like my color hair. This is your energy field. This is your aura. This is another one of your invisible energy bodies. Call it what you want, your energy field, your aura. This is the thing that does the heavy lifting. This is the thing that we are growing and strengthening and using with the power of our intention to send it to places to blend with other people, other things, other places, other objects, animals, what have you. Energy field is the thing that does the heavy lifting, and that is what we are building. Now, all psychic work is done with the soul. This is a soul action, guys. It's not done with the mind. So sometimes we can get training that is very intellectual, that sounds really good, that has all the great shiny words, but it doesn't touch the soul. And when we have these classes or these books or these teachers or these courses, we kind of get it on an intellectual level, but we often find that it doesn't stick, or it doesn't actually drive home. It doesn't touch that part of us, that eternal part of us that is our souls, because no, it's done with the soul. So be aware that, I'm going to talk about this a lot. This is your soul journey. And that word's kind of bandied around a lot. But really, this is what you're here for. Your soul has wanted you to come and learn this. And really, your soul has known this all along. It's just like a refresher course, really. So psychic work, mediumistic work, healing work is all done with the soul. So it makes sense that we get to know our soul first, and we get to strengthen our connection to our own soul first. Because if you don't know your own soul first, how can you possibly know another soul? How can you link with, connect with that soul if it is another person, if it's a person in the spirit world, if it's an animal, if it's a place, an object? How can you do that if you don't know your own self first? So we start at ground zero. We start in the only place we can, with the man in the mirror. And that's what My Shiny Light is going to do for you. Now, we say it's in the blend. What do we mean by that? And exactly what this figure says, we are blending our energy fields. So there's a lovely crossover. There's an intersection of our energy fields, and it happens naturally. This is not something that, we have to force. It happens naturally, and is the power behind any psychic hit that you have already experienced. Now, if you are a mother, if you are a fur mother, if you have ever been in a relationship of someone that you love dearly, even with your parents, and you've known, oh, they're going to text, they're going to call, or something's up, I better communicate with them, or you've just kind of had that mother's intuition, that is your energy fields that have blended. You are already connected through the power of love. And love makes the world go round. And, we couldn't do this work if it wasn't for a love. And, my teachers used to say to me, you don't have to like them, but you have to love them at a soul level, at a human level. And love is the glue that actually makes all this work. So you've already experienced your energy fields blending already with the people that you already love and care for and are connected to. Now, all we do in psychic work is we do that same function, except we do it with the power of our intention, and we deliberately send our energy field to the person that we are going to be reading for. Now, this happens after a while, just happens reflexively. You just intend, you don't have to sit cross-legged and om or dance about with crystals or do any of that stuff. It's instantaneous, because it's done with the power of your intention. But this is actually the mechanics behind all psychic and mediumistic work, and it is that simple. If you are wondering, well, oh my God, it can't be that simple. Why isn't it more technical? And there are people in the world that do want to tell you it's a lot more complicated than that, but it actually isn't. This is a very basic human function to blend in our energy fields, and through the osmosis have that information cross over. In our energy fields overlap and stuff comes across. And because we are trained psychics, we know A, that we can control our energy field, we can send it where we want, B, and we can remain open and aware for the information that wants to come across. And C, of course, we can relate it and relay it back to the person in a meaningful way. And that, folks, is all there is to it. Now, if you're having a bit of a facepalm moment at the moment, if you are thinking, well, I don't believe it, it's got to be harder than that, that's okay. I invite you to try it, because that's really all it is. You don't have to make it more complicated than that. It's a natural function because it's a soul function, and we all have souls. So there you go. That is the secret sauce. That is all we're doing. And that sounds incredibly simple, right? And it's like, this work is incredibly simple, but there is a lot more to it. And what we are doing in the Academy is we're finessing this technique. Very basic technique. Lots of different applications, and there is an art to it. There is an art to receiving the information and relaying it. There is an art to navigating no's. There's an art to going deeper. There's all of that, and that's what we're here in the Academy to learn and explore and discover. But this is it. This is the secret sauce. My shiny light, or sitting in the power. Now, if you are a psychic potato or a psychic sponge or anything in between, if you're somebody that just does not feel psychic sometimes, that it has shut down, it has gone on holidays, it's gone offline, or if you are a psychic sponge where you just soak up everybody's stuff, if you just feel the guy in the bus 10 seats down, then your energy field is working, okay? And even when you're a psychic potato, it's working too, but you have just overloaded it with a lot of mindset stuff. And this stuff is 80% mindset, just like anything else. You've got to have the right attitude to it. Now, if you are a sponge, guess what? Great news. My shiny light and sitting for the power is going to strengthen your energy field, bring it back into shape, heal and seal all the little leakages, and bring it back into condition. It's a bit like, you know, a fantastic hair mask, you know, that restores the bonds of your hair. My shiny light's going to do that for you. It's going to recalibrate your energy field. And I kind of have this joke, you know, in the PCP, where I talk about your energy field's a little bit like a vagina, in that it doesn't need any cleaning, it's self-cleaning, it's self-healing, and it gets itself back into shape automatically. And it's a little bit like that with our energy fields. We don't need to do anything to it. We just need to sit and be with it, and it will naturally do whatever it needs to do. If you have shut it down, if you are a potato, it's going to open you back up again. And you don't need to do anything. You just need to sit for 10 minutes. It's the simplest thing. Just sit for 10 minutes, plug that baby in, and just be with yourself and be with your energy. That's it. So my shiny light is how we grow our soul power. That's it, in basics. It's how we grow our power. So we want the power to be able to read for more than 5 or 10 minutes. We want to be able to read for, you know, maybe 3 or 4 clients and not feel exhausted at the end of the day. We want to do 4 healings in a day and not feel like we've just lost a pint of blood. We want to be able to go deeper. We want to be able to be the dominant energy in the room, and your soul power is how that happens. And I want to ask you a question. So have you ever walked into a room where there has been an argument, and you've walked in and it's like, whoa, there's this wall of stuff that you just about smash your face into, and you can feel it, right? That's the dominant energy in the room. You can feel it. Then conversely, you remember you've done that, right? Now, do you also remember being in a room and somebody walks in and they absolutely just light it up? That, you know, just by the mere presence of them, the room changes, or all faces turn to that person, a little bit like a Cinderella story, you know, where you suddenly just can't take your eyes off this person. It's not because they're, you know, fabulously good looking or anything. It's just something about their energy. That is their energy field. And I'd like to think that that might be the way if Oprah ever walked into the room, or the Dalai Lama, or even, you know, Mama, that lovely hug lady, you know, that she would be in the room and you just feel her energy and it would fill the room, yeah? Well, they're examples of people that have big energy fields with lots of soul power, that as soon as they step into a room, their energy fills the room and you are automatically filled with that light that is coming from them. And, you know, I reckon Jesus probably had it too. You know, I haven't read the Bible, I have to say, but, you know, all the stories I ever remember about Jesus was that, you know, he had this energy field that was like, oh my God, you know, and people were healed in his presence and all this kind of awesome stuff. He just had a rockin' energy field, you know, and a few other bonus things as well. He was also a medium and a healer, but that's what having an amazing energy field is. And that's the kind of thing that is possible for you, where on a day-to-day level, you know, you might not be changing water into wine straight away, but you will be the dominant energy in the room. So when you walk into a room, whatever happened before fades away because your energy, your vibration is stronger. And it kind of, you know, people will say, oh, I feel better just being around you. And it's not that they're vampires. It's just that your energy field is so strong and so big and so full of the light of your own soul, the beauty of your unique essence, that they cannot help but just feel kind of better. And that's what we're going for. Now, imagine you're doing that just every day, and, you know, evidence of this leaks out and ripples out into your everyday life, where you will find people making eye contact with you. And when I first started doing this, you know, I had this kind of weird thing where I'd walk down the street, you know, of King Street, Newtown in Sydney, and, you know, make a lot of eye contact. And people would make, and I'd go, oh, is there something wrong? Have I got something down my front? What's going on? And I realized it was my energy field. You know, they'd make eye contact and then hold it just for a little bit longer. Or you'd go to a cafe and you'd be served immediately because they would see you. You know, and I spent many years being invisible in cafes. You know, it used to infuriate me. It used to drive me nuts. And I'd always go because I'd have low blood sugar. I left it too late and I was kind of hangry, you know, angry and hungry at the same time. And I was busting. And, you know, that'd be the day when the waitress would not see me. And I'd get absolutely furious. And when I started working on my energy field, when I started sitting for power, sitting for spirit, doing my shiny light, it all changed. And now I can walk into a cafe and I'd be seen and I would be greeted, and, you know, the menu would come and it's fine. And I've even had instances in the UK when I was studying at the Arthur Findlay College, where I'd be in London and, you know, the guy, I'd be ordering a coffee and the guy would go, oh, you know, that's all right. You don't have to pay me. I just feel like giving it to you. And it happened more than once. And it's not because he was hitting on me. It was just because, you know, they kind of like someone that feels half alive, you know. And compared to most people, most muggles that are shuffling down the street half asleep, we become very alive. And it's our energy field. So, you know, wouldn't you want that? Doesn't that sound awesome? It does, right? And this is just the swag in everyday life, let alone your psychic life, your soul life, your spiritual growth. You know, all that's going on. behind the scenes. But this is what happens in your everyday life where you know that, oh, something has changed. Now, if you're like me and you loathe going to the supermarket, that's going to change too. Yeah, I still loathe going to the supermarket, and I still go in the quiet times, early morning when energy isn't quite so yucky, or I'll go, you know, late at night. But I find now that I can move through the supermarket faster. I can get what I want. I find the queues that are the least ones, you know, the fastest checkout person. It just seems to be smoother. So if you are navigating that in your life, it's going to be easier. If you are in meetings, people will listen to you. The men will make eye contact and actually stop what they are saying and not mansplain you. People won't bump into you in the supermarket. It's just amazing what happens when you start tuning in and expanding your own energy field. And this is all it is. So My Shiny Light really is how to grow your soul power and all the cool things that happen as a result of that, not only in your spiritual life, but also your everyday life. So we want soul power so that we can read for longer, so we are not distracted by the client or any external noise or, like, you know, Bruce barking or whatever going on in your life. So we can be fearless when the client says no. So we can do multiple readings in a day. So we can go deeper into the evidence and not skim the surface. So our readings isn't just like, you know, a fortune cookie thing. It's something that actually touches the soul, because we know how to touch our own soul. And of course, yes, we're going to get a better connection to our guides. And there is a 30-minute version of this that I do share. So we start you off on the trainer wheels of 10 minutes, and then we bump you up to the heavy stuff of the half-hour version, where we do connect to our guides. And, you know, we're just going to be sustaining a higher vibration, and we're going to be influencing the people around us with that higher vibration. And as a psychic and a medium, so that you can move from general evidence that anyone can give, like a fortune cookie, and you're going to move into a client experience that really touches their soul, so that they will remember how they felt and they will feel changed. It will be memorable. Even if you don't get everything right, they will know they've had an experience, and that's essentially what you're doing for somebody. So let's talk about how being in the power feels. How do you know you're doing it right? Okay. Now, at this point, I just have to press pause and say this one little thing, that when you're doing My Shiny Light, when you're sitting for spirit, when you're sitting for the power, it's not to contact anybody or get any messages. Think about sitting for spirit or doing My Shiny Light as making a deposit into your soul bank account. So you are just sitting with the idea of the spirit world. You're sitting with the idea of your soul, rather than needing a message, okay? Because when you want a message, when you're either looking for individual personalities, there goes Bruce going nuts. Thank you, Bruce, for your input. When you're looking for individual personalities, when you're looking for messages, you're making a withdrawal from the power, a withdrawal from the world of spirit. And sitting for spirit is all about the deposit. It's all about charging yourself up, filling your psychic fuel tank, making those deposits and building up your energy, rather than withdrawing. So at this point, I just want to say, if you are sitting for spirit and expecting a message, if you're expecting your spirit guides to appear in front of you in a puff of pink smoke, or, you know, God, the clouds to part and the voice of God, no. You know, that may or may not happen, but that's not what we go for. We're also not looking for phenomena. So by phenomena, I mean we're not looking for feathers or tingles or, you know, stuff levitating or, you know, anything like that. That may or may not happen as well, but we're not looking for it. We're not interested, you know, and we're sort of beyond that kind of circus trick. And yeah, it can be very enticing and it can be very diverting, and lots of people are devoted to the phenomena. That's not what we're about. We're about filling up our soul tank. The phenomena may or may not happen. It's not what we're there for. So at that point, as long as we've got that, you're saying yes, nodded, please say yes, I've got that. We're here for building our power. Here's how it feels. It feels expansive. It feels confident. It feels fearless. When you're in your soul power, you have this knowing. You don't know how you know, you just know it, and it's like you've known it forever. It feels completely natural. You are tapping into a part of you. Of course it's natural. It's your soul. You kind of like got this direct link to your soul, and your mind has stepped aside for a brief moment, and you're actually tasting what it feels like to work from your soul in a very, very pure form. And it flows. It's like you could talk forever. And this kind of feeling, I like to kind of say, like it feels like you've had 3 glasses of wine. And if you've worked with me, you know I already say this. When I'm working with you and we're doing a group and I see you like falter and stumble, I go, look, just pretend you've had 3 glasses of wine. I'm not recommending that you do, but remember when you did have that and you felt that kind of, oh, I don't care. You feel a bit bulletproof and you feel a little bit cockier. And, if you've ever done a psychic reading on a couple of glasses of wine, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's that feeling. And we want to replicate that, of course, when we're sober. We want to replicate that. And how we do that is we sit in the power. We fill ourselves with the power of the soul, so that overtakes and overcomes any nervousness, any feeling of, oh, I can't do this, I'm a potato, what if they say no? All that goes out the window. And you just have this direct, like, blah, 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 blah. And I know you've had this feeling, okay? I know this has happened to you. And right now, I'm hoping that you're remembering those times where it has, and you have done that. And, you might have even surprised yourself at what you've said. And, the other person might be absolutely gobsmacked. And this is when you are in your power. Remember how that felt, because we're going to be replicating that. So this is where you do remember a time, and this is your first little exercise. And after, you can either pause this now, this video, and then hop into the Psychic Academy and do a Facebook Live. And if you're too scared to do a Facebook Live, do a post, but I thoroughly invite you to do a Facebook Live and share a time when you were in your power. Oh yes, when you were in your power, sorry. We're going to do what it feels like when you're not in a second. But when you were in your power, what did it feel like? What was going on? When did it happen? Did it surprise you? What was going on? How did that feel? Because that is going to be a great way for you to remember what it feels like when it happens again. And as it happens, you start to recognize, oh yeah, I'm in the zone, I'm online, I've got all the, I've got 3 blinking green lights, it's happening, I've got 5 bars, And that's what we want to replicate. You're not going to be like that every time. I'm not in that every time, but I know what it feels like when I am. And the more you do this, the more you work in this way, psychically or mediumistically, the more you just drop into that zone. And it really is something that you feel and slot into more and more and more naturally the more you practice. So I invite you to now pause this, jump into the group, do your bit, share your moment, announce it so we can also feel it and see it and listen to maybe another way, because you might be influencing or inspiring somebody else in the academy that went, oh yeah, I remember when I felt like that too. Because the more we have to touch on, the easier it is for us to get in our power. Yep. Okay, so I'm assuming that you've done that and you've been brave and you've pressed pause and you've gone and shared into the group, because now we're going to look at what it feels like when you're not in your power. And this is probably something you're very familiar with. I am. God, there has been times when I have been a total potato. But you know this because it's like the line goes dead. It's like, oh, it doesn't feel like there's anything there, and it just feels like you're in the room alone and you're just echoing with the sound of crickets, right? You run out of things to say. You're thinking, oh, what am I going to say? Yeah, and maybe it's only 5 minutes into the reading and you're just wishing the floor would open up and for it to swallow you, because you just want this thing to be over. You start looking at the client. You start wondering what they're thinking. You might get a little bit of the power and you go into the power and you say a bit and then you pop out again and you're in and you're out and you're in and you're out, and it's really, really uncomfortable and you just don't want it to, you just can't finish quick enough, right? Yeah, you've had those moments too, right? That's when you're not in the power. And I bet you're having a smile now because, you know, I'm just describing all the things that I feel, but also somebody else feels. You know, you suddenly become very self-conscious and very worried about what the person is doing over the other side that you're supposed to be reading for. And you're kind of praying for them to say yes. And, you know, you had that feeling, right? That's when you're not in the power. And it's pretty icky, right? You don't want to be there. All right. So the answer is my shiny light. Who knew, right? I bet you knew I was going to say that. So I want you to download it now and whack it into your phone. Have it on your earbuds. Do it. Just sit and do it. This is your discipline. If there's one thing we need to be as psychics and mediums, it is disciplined and focused. And this is your first thing. As I said before, it's not a meditation. You don't check out. This is not something you do lying down, right? People that say they fall asleep meditating, it's because they're lying down. And unless you deliver your readings lying down, there's probably not a reason for you to lie down. So when we sit, it means we're showing discipline. We're also, as we sit upright, it's usually the way we work. So it's giving us that biofeedback already. I'm sitting still. I know I need to do this. So sitting upright is the best. And it's okay. It's only 10 minutes. The other thing is, and this is sort of leading into discipline a little bit more, but you are very much encouraged not to move. So I want you to get into the discipline of not moving, and it's only 10 minutes. But if you find yourself fidgeting, fiddling, brushing away, you know, imaginary cobwebs off your face or flies or what have you, or itching, it's actually draining your power. And remember, this is all about adding power, building power, making that soul deposit of light into your aura, into your spirit bank account. It's getting to know you as a spirit being, getting to know the essence of you. And moving and fidgeting is kind of going to interfere with that. It's a little bit like white noise. It's a little bit like interference. So if you're really thinking, well, okay, I'm great, I can sit and meditate, that's no problem, that's a no-brainer for me, then the next step for you might be to sit extremely still. And one of the reasons you know that you have been in the power is that you come out of that 10 minutes and you don't know where the time went. Or it feels like, oh, I feel like I've been sitting for hours. Right? And you have been incredibly still. There's been times that I've come out of my meditation, you know, and my ankles are numb, you know, because I've been sitting there for so long and I haven't realized. That's sitting in the power. Sitting in the stillness is another way that people describe it too. So there you go. That is the secret sauce for My Shiny Light. That's what is driving and the power behind all our work. Please download it to your phone now if you haven't already. And get ready to be BFFs with your soul. What you're doing is you're developing a relationship, a very, very personal relationship to the light of your soul, discovering or meeting your spirit self. And as we meet our spirit selves, then we can learn to be acquainted with our spirit guides and those in the spirit world and kind of touch the essence of what that other place is, which of course we are also residing in, that is very much home for us, that is very much a part of us too. We are reaching into that world very tentatively. That's what I mean by get ready to be BFFs with your soul. Because if you don't know your own soul vibration first, you are not going to know anybody else's. So here's your homework. Download My Shiny Light, whack it into your phone. If you haven't already, then jump into the Academy group and do your Facebook Live. Even if it's super crappy, this is going to be a great challenge for you. Okay, so there we go. That's your secret sauce. If you are slightly miffed, going, well, I thought it was going to be a whole lot more exotic than that, it ain't, right? It's incredibly simple because being psychic, being a medium is the most natural thing in the world. It's just that a lot of humans have wanted to make it really complicated for some reason. I can never understand that. But just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not easy. In one way, it's as easy as anything. The other way, it might drive you a bit cray-cray. So this is our journey. This is our adventure. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you in the group. Thank you very much for letting me be your psychic mentor today. Ciao.